there's a couple of things there. So let's start by, and you mentioned this today in your video with Catherine Edwards as well. There seems to be this movement now that is coming true of some things that were posted in the 17-something boards last year. And it's almost to the day, if not exactly to the date. So this was predicted that Mr. Dorsey here would be leaving. Can you explain to the audience here very quickly what you pulled from the cards in that episode with Catherine, and then I'll ask you some follow-up questions here.
So all of those things were already agreed to a long time ago. So these guys stepping down, they're just comms or signals. Okay, when this happens, it signals something. And I don't know exactly who are they signaling. The bad guys, I don't know, each other. But all of these people were already set to and made agreements to, so that we are truly watching a movie, you guys. It's becoming so clear, even crystal clear, all through November. And now it looks like all through December. Even the normies might even figure it out sometime in December, it looks like. So, yeah, this is a big old movie, and they had everything planned, and they're right on schedule, it looks like, for the most part.
Okay, very good. And this also ties in, and we're going to choose our words carefully here, but it ties into this trial that's happening now. And of course, you guys can go check out the last video from Cliff High. I believe it was a Trench Wu, where he's explaining also that in web-bought past data sets, he was seeing this mass exodus of CEOs and CFOs, and how perhaps the money system attached to the network of smaller people is all going to be basically crashing at the same time. And I thought that was interesting. Of course, David Morgan was posting here today. Yeah, JP Morgan here, Jamie Dimon, has gone DEFCON 1 over the bank's ties to the island and this whole story. So let's ask the cards here. Is it correct that we're going to see a lot of the CFOs, the chief financial officers on these lists here, and also CEOs, drop down here because of the massive pressure and their role in financing the movement, the procurement of this huge industry here of party drugs and small people? What can the cards tell us here? How that's tied together?
Yep. And it looks like, so the end of that happened a long time ago. So these guys' hands were tied with a lot of that operation a long time ago, but it's just the trickle down, right? It's like now it's time to, in the public eye, step these guys away, but a lot of them have already agreed to, or it maybe even stepped away and we just don't know about it. I think a lot of this has already been controlled. And the reason they're even showing us now is because we're about to do the big flip we've been talking about. Another theme of the month.
The flippening.
The flip, yeah, where us people that know the truth and know what's right in the world and are not demonic. Okay, we're about to get on top of this wheel and we won't be on the bottom anymore like it feels like we are.
Okay. And following to that also, again, it's going to be a tricky one here. They have a new policy in place now about pictures. And we were kind of alluding to that in the show last night. It was difficult to choose our words to make it clear for people. And I was reading the comments, and some of the people didn't really understand. I am going to have Jason Ipfor on tomorrow night. He's a big researcher as well, looking into these specific alphabet and number boards. And he was suggesting also, anyways, you guys can check that out on Wacky Woo tomorrow night at 8 p.m. But he was suggesting that what this new algo appears to be doing is being set up in front here now of perhaps the good guys letting some of this material go if in case the trial that's ongoing right now is thrown by the judge or by the lack of procedural correctness, I guess, from the prosecution. They're trying to shut down the trial, basically. And if they do that, the white hats will have to come out with these pictures of people in very difficult positions, to say the least. And this is what these new algos are trying to do, is to say that if you're putting somebody's picture and you don't have their permission, you won't be able to post. But what they're really trying to get out from in front of is this issue from the, oh my God, it's hard to it's hard to explain all this and walk around all these little bombs that might be difficult for us. Okay, so my question is that in fact what this algo is trying to do, to get in front of perhaps leaking of this information, either from the trial itself or from maybe the white hats who are going to, regardless of what the trial does, leak out this information, very damning photographic and videographic information? Is that what this whole story is about?
You bet. So the bad guys know that the big flip's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless what happens with 𝐲𝐿INE and her little thing that's going on, regardless, okay, and like I think Cliff said this, and you've mentioned this, regardless what happens, even if they've bought out that judge or whatever, I didn't really get that. I got that potentially it could go different than what Cliff says. We could be surprised. But if it is the case, these guys are still getting the flip. Okay, so this is their last effort. It is their desire to quelch as much of that. So you're absolutely right. It's their wish that they but they're not going to be able, that won't hold. I feel like it'll be so unpopular. It could even, they could lose so much money. I don't know, how does Twitter make money? I'm not sure, but with the advertising, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're going to lose a lot doing it, and they'll have to rethink it and do a whole new thing. They're going to have to go a whole new direction.
Well, speaking of a whole new direction, I didn't think we were going to go there, but let me see if I can find it. I saw something earlier today. Imagine that. Look at this timing. Trump, social media venture soars. Takes over 1 billion raise at much higher valuation. So that's interesting. Mm-hmm. At the same time, as you're saying here, Twitter might collapse. There's an alternative, maybe just in the wings. Let's talk about divine timing here. What do the cards have to say about this timing of the launch of this Trump social media venture with the demise, the self-demise of Twitter and other social media here, who are going to implement this draconian censorship like we've never seen before?
Oh, they're more ready to go than you think. They're ready to go. Like that's a go. They're just literally getting out the kinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to be surrendered to. I'm thinking by March, they're up.
Okay, that's a little further out than I thought, but still, it might take a while for this debacle to happen here with Twitter. And again, as long as the trial is moving forward, I don't think that Twitter and these algos are really afraid, because they think that their buddies are going to clamp down on this information. It's only if and when the trial goes awry, that perhaps other people would take matters in their own hands and then start feeding this information here through social media networks. So we have some time to watch this play out here. And there is the question of limbo. You and I were talking about that in the show today too. There's a weird limbo period even with the financial system, because it's also attached to what direction this trial is going to go here in the very near future. Interesting. Okay. JC, can you please drop the tip jar link in the chat? Okay, I'll do that again. Thank you so much. There you go. There you go. All right, that works. Now let's go to the Insider Access Pass, and then we'll come back to the PayPal tip jar. All right, great question here about a UFO. 𝐶Salt from the Insider Access Pass members. Question: what is my relationship with the UFO that flew beside my car on I-10 going to Phoenix back in 2004? So an encounter with a UFO on I-10 going to Phoenix in 2004. What's 𝐶Salt's, the name of the questioner's, relationship to this UFO?
Wow. Two cards that indicate Venus. So I wonder if the UFO was from Venus. Interesting. Okay, so wow, it looks like they were friendly, and there's sort of like a friendly, almost like. I wonder if the person has experienced a bigger sense of wealth since that encounter. So there's some kind of gifted energy here that could lead to more abundance. But of course, abundance can be all kinds of. They were gifting. There was a gift there. They were benevolent and gifting that person somehow. So they were sending some kind of positive energy that might attract or help that person attract more abundance.
Wow.
Or something went better in their life, some area.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Okay.
Maybe their love life, maybe I don't know what part of their life, like Venus. So Venus indicates beautiful things. If you're a collector, love life is activated with Venus activation, but also abundance and more things that you love. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Sea salt. I hope that helps. Sue Johnson from the Insider Pass says, "Hey, JC and Janine, we absolutely love and appreciate everything you do for humanity." Oh, hugs. Thank you. Right back at you. Appreciate that. Okay. Parisan here in the live chat saying, "JC, could you ask the cards about new Twitter CFO if he's working with hats or CTO Twitter?" Okay. We kind of touched this last night. Do you want to pull cards or just kind of recap what we said in the last show about that new CEO replacing and kind of being a little bit mushy here?
Let's see what else I got.
Okay. So guys, just so you know, the last show, we kind of pulled cards on this and we realized that this guy's a little bit kind of confused as to what's happening, not really in the know, not understanding maybe the severity of the situation he finds himself in.
He inherited a big mess.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of work. Okay. He's going in there really like idealistically thinking he's going to do a great job. He's actually good at what he does. So he's good at what he does. I don't get him to be a really bad character person. Not these two cards are good, but he's kind of foolish because he doesn't really see what the policies that they've been doing, how literally, like some people don't realize that's actually against the law, what they do, as far as I'm concerned. And it's certainly against people's rights, right? To like the whole platform repressing a whole side of a whole huge part of a population's opinion about something is absolutely immoral, to start with. And very questionable as far as I'm concerned. I would never do that. Like I wouldn't want to be the guy in front of that. You know what I'm saying? To be known for that. So I feel like he's just starting to get how maybe this platform has been ruled by the deep state. I don't think he knew that. So he got it dropped in his lap, but he's not really privy to the deep state connections. And
he's the convenient patsy to go down with the ship.
Yep, that's what I get.
Wow,
exactly.
Okay.
So I feel like he'll get more diplomatic, and he'll actually come more on board with the alliance way of thinking eventually. I think that he might even get pulled aside and schooled, but he'll be easier to work with than the last guy.
He's going to learn really quick. Okay. Vicky Dold Envoy. JC, will you be posting, this is from the live chat here, will you be posting the recording schedule for the members to join live? Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, okay, so let me bring this up. So this is the Insider Access Pass library, and as you can see, we just posted the Beyond Crypto Woo that Janine and I recorded earlier this afternoon. And this afternoon, I sent a message in the Discord to let them know that we were about to record and asking them for questions. Now, what Vicky's alluding to is eventually, when we record our pay-per-views, we will record that live on the back end for the Insider Access Pass members. It is a feature that we're developing here for the last 2 months. So when that happens and we have the live functioning feature with live chat in our video, then yes, I'll find a way to give you guys a schedule that makes sense so that you can know to schedule through your day to be part of the recordings of these episodes. So yes, Vicky, at some point, but I need to figure out all the live stuff yet. And we're about, I don't know, 60, 70% there with all the programming and the back-end structure that needs to happen for that work. Yeah, we're excited about that. But today, at least, I wanted to share with the question from you guys as well. So maybe in the meantime, that's what I'll try to do as best I can. And maybe I can put a note here also at the top of the page when I know that Janine and I are going to be recording. But I have to admit, though, Janine and I, our schedule for recording pay-per-views in the last couple of weeks is all over the map. We keep having to cancel, reschedule, all this stuff for many, many reasons, things happening in our lives, but also weird energetic pushback as we are about to record. We're both feeling that we should not record. So we've been dealing with that as well. So our schedule is a little bit more difficult than it usually was. So I guess that's the best I can explain it for now. All right. This is interesting here too. A lot of people are very nervous about what's happening with inflation. And you just said it, this month is capitulation. We'll hear the Federal Reserve finally admitting that team transitory is dead after Powell, the chair, says that time to retire that word. So basically, they went from there's no inflation earlier in the summer to, yeah, there might be some, to then, yes, there's inflation, but it's transitory. And now we're like, okay, this game's over. We're about to hit reality here. So there's two things. Because of the capitulation here, can we find a timing? Maybe we can ask the cards days, months, weeks as to how quickly we're going to be hit with this massive inflation, as we're seeing now in other countries like Turkey. They're seeing wine and cheese go up 15% every day right now, as the Turkish lira is absolutely hyperinflating. So can we ask maybe timing as to when we're going to see that, now that people are actually telling the truth here, even the Federal Reserve? How close are we? Because usually they don't capitulate till the last moment here. So how close are we to seeing hyperinflation here, like big time?
In the next month, we'll see some evidence. Yeah. And I feel like it's already kind of happening anyway.
Yeah.
Like my daughter, her fella was saying he went shopping and a head of lettuce was like $4 more than usual. Just the other day, it was like unbelievable, like things that are hard to get because of the situation in Vancouver. I mean, that could be just because of all the roads and situations, but there's a lot of places experiencing things like that. So I think it's kind of already it's already everywhere, but people aren't really admitting it almost.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is what's happening now. We're finally having to admit it. Our politicians are finally having to admit it. And if they're admitting that it's not transitory, they have not yet admitted to the super hyperinflation we're about to live, because of course they're not admitting to all the money printing yet, but we're close to that. And what's interesting, it ties into all of this too. Now we're seeing death threats. And the World Economic Forum here was just delayed in Davos because of this. Now, this is also tied into what we were just talking about now, these C-level executives or chief financial officers starting to resign here. It's part of this old economic system that was holding together this network of party substances and small people. Let's look into this guy a little bit here. Last week or so, there was a report that he had been rounded up. We had rumors that his lawyer was going to make a statement. That's kind of gone cold for now. Let's take a pulse on this guy. Is he actually still around even?
Okay.
Colette in the chat is asking, hey, JC, why is my Discord invalid? I don't know. We don't support private Discord accounts. You need to set that up properly with Discord, and then your invite button on the Insider Access Pass will work. Okay, Colette? Go ahead, Janine.
Okay, the fool. And I think he's been moved somewhere, and he's been, I think he was rounded up quite a while ago. So I think the whole announcement that he's been rounded up was, one of those leaks that they do months after it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
Real Raw News who said that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what they do. And so he's already been rounded up. He's somewhere. He's literally in a place being held. Physically, he was moved somewhere, and it was quite a while ago, at least 3 months ago, I'm thinking.
Okay. Okay.
But he's alive. Like there's no passed over cards here.
I just realized I asked you, man, we're doing so many shows. We talked about this maybe yesterday, I forget now. But you were also alluding to maybe this news article was the good guys telling the rest of his cohorts, death threats are coming to you, buddies. We got your main guy and more, we're coming for you type of thing. So that seems to be a theme here moving forward. Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can pick another question from the PayPal tip jar. Hold on a second. Some of these are too long, guys. I can't read them. They're just too long. You need to make them a little bit shorter for me to go. Okay, so let me grab this one here. Thomas McNall. Thank you, Jason Janine, for moments of sanity. Yeah, I know. In this crazy, crazy world we're in. I appreciate that, man. As we move forward, what will my path be in the new earth? Love you both. Annie McNall. Okay, it's from Annie, not Thomas. All right. So Annie's asking here, what's her path moving forward? What can the cards tell her?
Wow. I wonder if she has a healing ability or something, because this is a nurturing card and this card is about justice. So I feel like bringing people back to a balance once they've been. So this feels like it could even be people that have really been messed with by the dark cult. So she may actually end up involved with some kind of healing and helping bring balance. But it could also be helping bring balance when people find out and it's the first they heard of it. Like I can't imagine if my parents found out that the popes have all been in on this, the Vatican was trafficking, yada, yada, right? All of these people that they respect, like my mom loves anybody with the last name of Trudeau. Okay, can you imagine? Right? It's like she loves them. Okay, she had a big crush on Pierre Trudeau. Okay, and we know what he's all about. And he definitely wouldn't have had a crush on her. You know what I'm saying? It's like
what are you saying? I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, she was way too female and old for her. Like, back then, like any age beyond about 6 would have been, too old for him.
Do you remember this old picture of this famous photographer? I forget his name now. I've met him a couple of times at events, but anyways, he took this famous picture of Trudeau doing the pirouette. Yeah. And, yeah. Anyways, it speaks a little bit to what Janine is talking about here now. That's all I'll say.
But it forgets the part about the little. Yeah. Like demonic. Okay, so how do you think people like that are going to deal? So this woman is going to help balance once the truth comes out about what's been going on. She's going to do a lot of nurturing to others and help them find some kind of balance in that. And not everybody has the patience for that. To be honest, I don't think I want to keep working with truthers and people that already woke up. I'm not going to go back and try to explain this. Like, I'm not into it. So we're going to need people that have the patience to go back and be kind. And I'm going to be maybe sometimes busy rubbing it in their nose, actually.
I love it. Okay. The tough love, Janine. Hey guys, you ask for it, you're going to get it.
Yeah. Anyway, probably I will be nicer than that.
Okay, this one is funny. Oh boy! All right. Oh, she asked the question, so we're gonna answer it. This is from. Okay. Do I need to? Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. Hold on. Okay, This is an odd one. Love you, JC and Janine. Finally have the balls to ask, ... Is my marriage going to survive this?
That's probably a big theme, hey, in a lot of relationships.
Especially this year, yeah.
Yeah.
So much stress and division.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Wendy. And yeah, brave question for sure.
Okay, it's looking pretty tough right now. It's looking really tough, and she's going to have to wait till after the big flip around and see how the person behaves once her philosophies, because I'm assuming it might have to do with split in philosophies, but because the flip around's going to, like, it's still unknown, will it survive? Because something's changing so much in the world. It'll do such a flip for everybody that now you have to relook at some things, and it'll be up to her to decide. Because this card says if she still desires to be associated with that person, so she'll need to watch how they behave in the flip time. Right. So when everything becomes like okay, so what I'm imagining happens is it comes out. It's been coming out, but it officially comes out that everybody that has this are actually the dangerous ones, and the ones that aren't. And they're not the ones that are spreading, have this already. So they're actually, so everything everybody thinks is the way it is the exact opposite. Everything flips. Okay. So. Yeah. So
the advice would be, hold on.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself in danger, but hold on here and maybe wait for this flipping, and then you'll have an opportunity to recalibrate and see if it can be fixed.
Feel in her heart emotionally if that's still what she wants, and who she wants to be aligned with, and then
great advice. Yeah.
But it could all change really quick here, so I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not just the thing in the arm. It's also about the elections. It's also about
everything.
Aliens, the small people, the Pope. Like, fuck, people are going to lose their shit, and then suddenly realize that maybe the people they thought were crazy were not crazy, and then it changes the whole dynamic. I completely agree with you on that.
We're going to look like the gurus, okay?
Yeah. Wow. That's the big flipping for sure. Somebody asked a great question. Let me see if I can find it again. Okay, Karen. Yeah, Karen, I guess Alberta, Alberta. Did the friendly ETs assist with removing the nuclear missile that was launched from North Korea to Hawaii in 2017? Remember, Hawaii went on this high alert, and then suddenly the guy says, oh, we just pushed the button by mistake. Oh, sorry, my bad. And of course, there's all these triple redundancies. They were on high alert, but something happened. Something intervened. So she's asking, did good ETs assist with that? And if not, maybe let's ask the cards, what the hell just happened there?
Yes.
But yes. Okay.
Yeah, it got to a critical place, and then it was taken out. So that's a big yes. Wow. Really came close though.
Yeah, apparently it was like really, really close. Okay. Wow, fascinating. Man, had I read that question first, I would have showed you the clip of that guy who's in charge of the forward alert system or whatever it was, and his cockamamie story about this alert went off by mistake. It was just impossible to believe in. It's absolutely funny. Okay, there's another great question here. Marie-za, with a Z, question. Curious, is it safe now to do the genealogy in French? Genealogy, okay, I got it. Ancestry.com companies, are they now taken over by the white hats? Because we've understood here that some of these were very nefarious, collecting for a specific reason and not for the good of humanity. Has that switched over? Is it safe to use these companies now? Great question, Marisa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is safe. Yeah, it's in the hands of the wise ones. They're collecting the data. So that's interesting. That's my wise old soul card. Yeah. So it got switched. It was definitely dangerous in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely being used for nefarious reasons, but it got switched. So good observation, hey?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Another question here from the PayPal tip jar, and I'm sure again a lot of audience members are going to relate to this one. So not the husband and wife thing, but the kid thing. So let's get into that and see if we can center this so you guys can see it. Okay, Galina Milkova. When and if am I going to be reunited with my estranged daughter and her young family? It's been over a year now. She refuses to communicate with me and my husband. We have not seen our only grandchild now, and who is turning 3 months. Wow, that's hard. So, talking about this flipning, let's look into Galina here and the story with this estranged daughter. Is this flipning perhaps going to change the situation? Is there something else behind there we need to know about? Is she going to be reunited? Is the question. And there's a lot of that going on, even just with COVID right now. So,
yeah. In the next 6 months, and I know that sounds like a long time. Let's hope that's weeks. She'll act almost like nothing happened, and all of a sudden, we're on track again. So, the parents or the mother of or whoever's in charge of that situation will act like almost like not really explain too much or too much apology, but all of a sudden we'll flip the switch back on.
Okay.
So eventually, right? Like over some time. And so I get a lot of people, even though they're going to hear all of these things and know what's really going on, or at least be told what's really going on. It's going to take time to undo the damage. Like,
yeah,
it took us time to really, like, we had rabbit holes to go down and all kinds of stuff to get levels and degrees. And yeah, it could take some months, maybe years for some people. But anyway, yes, over the next 6 months, that everything changes in that situation. And all of a sudden there's a reach out, not necessarily a big apology or anything, but kind of like, okay, we can see you now.
Okay. Let's talk about sleep. Our friend Cliff High is in the chat here, and some people are asking him about Pure Sleep. It's the product that he's developed here as the alchemist and as the herbalist and as the overall genius that he is. Right now, Pure Sleep is again sold out here, and he's expressing that Generation 2 is coming online here very soon. You guys can go check out his video on Gen 2 Pure Sleep on his BitChute channel. Let's pull some cards here, Janine. Also, what can people do right now to maybe get a better night's sleep? Like, what's preventing them right now? We're getting a lot of reports that people are feeling like they're on a hot wire. They're too hot, they're too cold, their ears are ringing. Anything the universe can tell the audience here about maybe how to get a little bit more sleep in here in these crazy woo and capitulation times that we live in.
Well, this is what's going on. It's so like all this dysfunction, and it's like toxins all stirred up and maybe even moving around more than usual. So that could even be like the shifting the bad guys off energetically, and or all of this stuff coming up. It's like toxins, information. It's toxic, right? And then there's things going on in the background we don't know about. We could be picking up on, like secret tribunals and weird people are being called to justice, and there's all this background stuff. So it's very confusing. I find myself waking up, so it feels emotional. And I find myself waking up and getting too emotionally involved in all of that, trying to sort it out in my head and stuff. And I obviously that's not going to work, because we won't know most of the stuff that's going on until it gets told to us. We're like